Warning. The media that is about to play will contain graphic and foul language, but is intended to be entertaining, at least to some. The opinions shared here may not be shared by everyone, and may even be just for laughs. If you are easily offended, don't have a sense of humor, have your head up your ass, love patting yourself on the back, or don't even attempt to be a good person, this isn't for you. Everyone else, please try to have fun. And as always, stay creative.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bryan SilverBax Show. I am Bryan SilverBax. Today I'm going to be talking with JR, and we are going to talk about our experiences that we separately had at DragonCon 2019. This installment is brought to you by Capone Streams. Stick around. What's up, JR?
What's up there, Brian?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, my friend.
We're about 3 weeks removed from DragonCon.
Yep.
And this is what year? This is my third year doing DragonCon, like tabling at DragonCon. What about you?
This is my fourth.
This is your fourth year, so you're one up on me. But you made some decisions, and I'd like to talk about them. You are an artist and a writer and a comic book creator,
so to speak.
If you had to check the box, that's the box you would check.
True.
Whether or not you're good,
yeah, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's not for us to decide. But I mean, you do it.
I do it anyway.
Yeah.
Success is really
so
more
3 years. Your first 4 years, 3 years, you were on in Artist Alley or Pop Culture Artist Alley, whatever they call it. Mm-hmm. This year, you were in the vendor hall.
I was Tracy, who runs the vendor area, was somebody I went to last year because you know everybody who remembers Tom. Mm-hmm. Tom Trainer was one of the greatest guys who would hook up an artist into the Artist Alley and just welcome them into the fold.
Yeah, Tom Trainer was in charge of booking Artist Alley,
and everything to do with it. And
he passed away like 3 weeks before DragonCon last year.
Last year, yep.
So last DragonCon they had to scramble to get everything taken care of because it's not like anyone ever plans to when I'm not
no one
here,
expects to die.
Here's all Tom's files.
Right.
He didn't have that. So this year was our first year with Jamie Reeves being fully in control of Artist Alley.
And the good thing is, look, Tom always had a good staff.
Yes.
So, Jamie fell into Tom's footsteps quickly. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they recovered. Last year went off without a hitch. This year, without any Tom involvement, was a success. This whole DragonCon thing, for those who don't know DragonCon, it's the biggest con of the South.
Yeah, it's 4 days. It's Labor Day weekend every year. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Thursday in some places.
Well, Thursday for extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Like they have programming, but like vendor halls, autographs, panels, all that stuff really starts on Friday.
Yep.
But they have like drinking and meetups and stuff like that.
It's also the most social con I've seen. Anybody who knows DragonCon, it's a volunteer-run organization. There's very few seats on there that actually are paid.
Yeah.
Most of the people involved that you see running around with DragonCon official shirts, they are volunteer. They're there because they love the show, they love their state, and they love the hoopla around this thing.
Yeah.
And DragonCon is more than a Comic-Con. It's more than a sci-fi con. It is a pop culture con.
It's not, is it that? I mean, is it one huge alcoholic cosplay contest? Because
there's that too.
We go to conventions, and then this convention will be like, we're kid friendly, and we have a kids costume contest and stuff. Right. I don't think that anywhere on DragonCon's list is there a kids costume cosplay.
There is
contest.
not. No, in fact, everybody's rolled up into one. The first and only costume contest I've ever seen was my last year before being an artist at DragonCon. So this is 5 years ago.
Okay.
The kid that took the person that took the costume contest was a kid. Mm-hmm. He had a cardboard Transformer suit that transformed from Optimus Prime standing to Optimus Prime the truck.
Oh, wow.
And he just went, went down, and with his dad's help, stand up, it was fantastic. And it was cardboard. So costumes
That's surprising that won with as much top titty meat as that's exposed at
You're
DragonCon.
absolutely right. Well, and that's the other thing I love about DragonCon. It is as much for as adults as anything else.
I don't get to partake in a lot of the after hours
after
activities.
7, after 10.
Like
no,
once the hall closes, I go home. But there is a lot of lobby meetups, room meetups, after hours parties, and
there's partial dress.
Yeah,
cosplay.
Sexy cosplay, like privately sanctioned, not like DragonCon official, but
right,
people will take it upon themselves to say, all right, if you've got a sexy thing with your nipples hanging out, let's meet up over here. And the next thing you know, you've got a fucking nipple contest.
But DragonCon does have after hours burlesque official.
Burlesque,
right?
Yes, but
burlesque
it gets worse.
Titties. Burlesque is still titties. So
nipples and shit?
Dude, it's
I've never been. I go home.
Well, see, neither do I. I've never been either.
I've heard the
I
rumors.
just know. I look up the word burlesque and I'm like, ooh, wow.
Thursday night this year, I actually stayed for the wrestling. Like I stayed and watched the Dragon DC dub. You see the guy
dressed up as Bane?
Yes.
Dude,
there was Bane.
Ridiculously good.
There was Forrest Gump. And
I'd like to see Forrest Gump take on Pee Wee Herman.
Well, first off, Forrest Gump started running the ropes, and he just kept going, and the announcer was like, he keeps running, and he was just bouncing off the ropes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's hilarious.
Did he have chocolates in his hand at all?
No, it was the running Forrest Gump. So he had on the red shorts and the T-shirt and like the beard and hair.
That's fantastic.
It was running Forrest Gump.
Oh,
like the cross country.
Like been running.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cross country Forrest Gump.
That's interesting.
But so that's the only real after hours activity I did, other than Friday night I went to a non-DragonCon sanctioned episode of Radio Labyrinth with Tim Andrews and Jeff Leboff and Ming Chen. It's fun. I think this is like the third live recording that I've been through for their podcast.
Okay.
And they're from Atlanta. They're Atlanta based too.
Yep.
And Tim and Jeff invited me out to come, and so me and Amos went over there. Amos and I went over there.
And who's Amos?
Amos from the Just Being Amos podcast.
We're giving a shout out to Amos, Just Being Amos podcast.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. He's got them big boy numbers.
Well, then we're sucking off of his intel.
We'll be sure to tag him in the post. But so, and then Ming was going to be the guest. So Ming showed up, and then we all kind of hung out, and we had a good time. And then I went home after that and started DragonCon.
Well, for those who don't know, all right, if you're doing DragonCon is the most tiring show we will ever do. Not just because it's 4 days.
10 to 7.
Yeah. It's long hours. It's 4 days. And also it is constant and nonstop.
It's a lot of walking,
energy,
too.
Energy. Yeah, well, not for us.
Well, no, but
we walk to our
like,
booth.
You have to walk. You have to park somewhere.
Oh, that's true.
You have to park somewhere. and if you, like the parking spots that I was in were like on Thursday and Friday, if you got there before 8:30, parking was like $7.
Right.
But Saturday and Sunday, parking was $30 and then $20.
Yeah,
respectively.
No, you've got. I'm not giving away my secret just because I don't want to have a bunch of people.
Well, you can at least say the price.
I don't want your 3 listeners to find the.
Oh, look at you throwing shade, motherfucker! These are gonna be your listeners soon. We got an announcement coming.
But I will say, you plan ahead. There are parking opportunities.
Okay, yeah, Parking Panda.
I will tell
and
people
stuff like
right
that.
now. I'll give you one tip. Right.
All right.
There are parking websites out there: ParkMe, ParkWiz, Parking Panda, all Spotify, Spot Hero. Those places, people have discount prices for the same lots you're paying $20, $30, $40, $50 in. So get your what's what they call it? Not QVC.
QR code.
Get your QR code, your paper, get it on your phone. Save some money next year. That way you can spend more money upstairs.
Yeah, on the fourth floor.
And third floor,
No, on the fourth floor.
We'll talk about third and fourth floor battle.
Doesn't need any more love or attention.
I disagree.
You may need more love and attention, but that floor needs no more love. So for those that don't know, DragonCon, all of their vending takes place in America's Mart Building 2.
Building 2.
And the first 3 floors are vending. That's where you're buying your pillows, your action figures, your pops.
It's generally merchants, but there are artists are now moving into those areas because you get bigger space and you get a large group of people. You
get more foot traffic.
Yeah, well, but you pay for it. So let's. How big is your table?
Well, I didn't finish going over the floors. Right, so the first three floors are vending, and those
are the floors I needed to talk about.
Those floors are sold in 10 by 10 squares, right?
And bigger.
10, but you have to buy them in increments of 10. So it's either a 10 by 20 or a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 30. Yeah. Like it's 10 foot increments. You could buy however much you want, but the minimum is a 10 by 10. Upstairs on the fourth floor, America's Mart, Building 2, fourth floor, is the Artist and Pop Culture Alley, and that's referred to as the Artist Alley. That's where you're going to find George Perez. That's where you're going to find Mark Texahara. That's where you're going to find Bryan SilverBax. That's where you're going to find.
This is the first year that fourth floor has been used twice in a row. So
that sounds weird to say. This is the first year that it's been used twice in a row.
I realized it when I said it, Brian.
That's very...
All right, this is the second year in a row it's been on fourth floor. How's that?
Yeah, it's my first year, which was 3 years ago, we were on the third floor.
Right.
And then we went up to the fourth floor. And I guess they just had that many more vendors they wanted to squeeze in.
Vendors know that there's an ever-growing waiting list to get into DragonCon. So DragonCon, they could, I don't want to say this, but they could go to 4, 5, 6 floors, and I think they'd fill them.
How many floors is in that building? Aren't we at the top?
I'll say 4, Brian, because that's as far as I want to go. I don't want to go any higher than that.
I don't either, because the further the artists get from the ground floor, the less traffic we're going to get.
Now, how cool would it be, all right, to put Artist Alley in the middle?
I say put it on floor 1. Fuck them.
Really?
Yeah, but I know the reason they don't is because floor 1 is reserved. It's but it would be we would get a lot of foot traffic if we were on the first floor.
You would.
But the reason that we don't is because there's large displays and there's tons of freight that need to be brought up.
There's also a lot of height that the artists on the fourth floor don't need. And let's look at bread and butter. All right, the artists in any show pay less than any merchant in a con.
All right. So to break it down for you, and I'm going to give you real numbers here. Artist table, an inline artist table.
Inline meaning like if you've got a row, it's in the middle of the row, within the row, not on a corner.
Because there's honestly, DragonCon doesn't really have, I was on the corner, but it's not like you can set it up like a corner.
No.
Like you have to.
Well, you can, but you'd be a dick about
it. Yes. But so... inline artist table is, if I remember correctly, it's $350.
Yeah,
it's $350 to buy that table, and you only get one pass.
Right.
So and if you want a battle buddy or a booth bitch, as we have called them, that's an extra $100. So basically, at this point, I'm into it for $450 because I need someone there to watch my booth if I need to go pee or. If I just want to stretch my legs, or if I want to go socialize and network, I need someone manning my table.
That extra ticket, by the way, has gone up to $110. By the way.
Oh shit! Okay, so $110, and then also on the Artist Alley, on the fourth floor, they do have 10 by 10 booths, and those, if I'm not mistaken, are
600.
600 even.
They're 600 to 650, yeah, depending on where you're at.
Okay, because those can come in corner sections.
They can, because they're done in quads, so you got 1, 2, 3. So there's an inline and 2 ends.
So the 600 is for inline, and I think 650 is if you get a corner. That also comes with 2 passes.
Comes with 2 passes, and like you said, 10 by 10 space.
Yes, and you get the full dividers, like you have pipe and drape all around your section. You look all pretty and stuff.
Well, yeah.
But you're paying damn near double
to that too. Yeah, you are paying. Let's just break down to you're paying 1 for inline table, double for an artist booth is what they call them.
Yeah.
So just make it easier on people.
But I'm saying for the equivalent, so a table with 2 passes is $450. For $600, you get a 10 by 10 with your 2 passes. Mm-hmm. So it could, but
you can buy more passes too. By the way,
I have found through my 3 full years of experience. I mean,
You're vast.
I've got a lot to pull from.
Well, that's still something.
So my first year, I nabbed Bobby Nash's spot, which was still an artist table, but I had a lot of back room.
Bobby Nash is an indie author, a friend of ours.
Yeah, Snowfall, something like that. All right.
Snow everything.
Snow. So I took it because he couldn't make it because he had a death in the family. And that's not a Batman joke.
No.
But, so I had actually purchased a regular table, but since he wasn't showing up, I switched tables with him because it was better placement where I could like actually stretch out and fart and not have someone immediately have it in their nose.
I knew that was you.
Yeah. Well, you weren't close to me. But
I was downwind of you, apparently.
So I had a table. And I did relatively well. It was my best show up to that point at DragonCon. So I got my big boy pants on, and I said next year
this is the problem.
I'm buying a booth. Because
if this is as good at this,
because if I have twice the space,
bigger must be better.
And if I have, this pipe and drape and everybody thinks that I'm big ballin', I'm going to be big ballin'.
Right.
So I got the booth.
Because perception is everything.
So I got the booth. Then I get word that now we're on the 4th floor, which is different than what I was used to in my 1 year.
Yep.
And in my 1 year, that first year we were on the 3rd floor, if you entered that floor, you had to walk past 4 or 5 rows of the booths.
Yeah, the premium booths were up
before
front.
you even got to the tables.
Yep.
And that was the setup. So in my head, I'm like, shit, yeah, everyone is stopping off at these booths to get their goods, and they're not even having money by the time they get back to these.
I thought the same thing. I looked at those things and salivated and thought, you will be mine next year.
So next year rolls around, I get, hey, you're on the 4th floor. And I'm like, all right, well, no big deal. Then I got my booth assignment. I was in the next to last row of the floor. Mm-hmm. And the placement was not the same. It was not walking through the booths before you got to the tables. It was the core group of tables with booths surrounding around the wall.
Yep.
And then any extra booths were placed in the complete back of that section.
No light.
With no light and close to the escalators where no one is using them.
And our overhead, I think the ceiling was only at 10 feet, which means you couldn't have a big
raise your banner up. And you were right next to the conference, or they're having panel rooms. Panel rooms.
The conference room. Yeah.
But there was no reason to visit the back of the hall. Like there was no like, come this way to go up.
Other than the escalator, which brought you down and up from the back of it.
But here's the thing.
There was no reason.
If they had marked off the entrance and said, this is enter only, you have to go out the back entrance to go down.
Right.
Then I would have... So, all that to be said, I don't know what goes into the planning. I'm not passing judgment. I just know that I was in the back, dimly lit. I had a 10 by 10 section that I paid almost twice as much for. And I didn't even make my money back.
No. In fact, it got worse the further back you went. Like you were the next
I was the next to last
row,
yeah.
And the last row did even worse.
Yeah, because they're facing nothing. Yeah. So I was like, wow, this was a learning experience. Yeah. I spent more money and made less money. This sucks. But it's DragonCon, so I'll give it another shot. So this year I opted for just a regular table. And I was giving the complete opposite treatment where I was the very front row of the tables.
Yeah. So by paying less, you actually got a better placement.
Yeah.
Which isn't always the case.
And I'm not going to say that it could have been the luck of the draw, or it could be who you know, or it could be, someone felt cool for, had a soft spot in their heart for you. Who knows?
Just luck, Brian. I mean, look, let's just say that, nobody, unless you know somebody there.
The way the cards fell, I ended up facing the front. And so I did the one booth with the pass, and now I'm back up to near or a little bit past those original numbers that I did.
And you did well.
Yeah. So
you had a better time.
Well, I did have a better time, and part of it's twofold. this time I actually have published work under my belt.
Right.
So maybe I'm a destination for some people with the scout covers and stuff like that I've been doing, and placement. So between the combination of the placement and the more published work, I had a really good show. Like I had a good time. Like I'm not blowing the doors off of anything. I talked to another artist this past weekend telling me that when he, in years past, when he would do DragonCon, he would pull down like close to like between $3,000 and $4,000 at DragonCon.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, I could only dream of doing some shit like that. Because I'm not close. So don't be fooled. I'm still eating ramen noodles. Okay? I still got bill collectors calling me. As much as I post on Instagram and Facebook trying to make like I got some cool shit going on.
Hi, this is Brian Smith next week.
I'm still broke as shit.
Changing your name every
Bill
day.
collectors are looking for Brian Shepard, but in the meantime, Bryan SilverBax is off having a good time.
But let's bring up this though. How much new business did you get?
Let's see. Like that's how here's the thing. I just did a show in Cartersville. I got one new customer. I had a great show. Okay. I made more money than I did last year, but only one person bought stuff from me that hadn't, like, only one new customer that may be a long lasting customer. You know what I mean? Like actually spent, and I don't want to come across as like every dollar doesn't count. Like I'm not saying that.
No.
Some people have come through and spent 10, $5, $20, but there was no customer that came through and dropped more than $50 that I hadn't already done business with, except one.
But what I love about DragonCon is that because so many people come, and DragonCon is an art show. They come and they love to look at what people have done.
But the competition is thick, sir.
It is hugely
The competition
fierce.
is thick, man. I mean, my neighbor was Peter David.
Yeah.
And although he's not an artist, his list of comic book accomplishments
Hulk alone.
is phenomenal. Yeah. And then 3 booths down from him, Jay fucking Lee. Mm-hmm. So
who was the MC of the art world of the con? Yeah,
and then so now on my right hand side, I forgot. I don't know what he did. Oh, he did the comic book. Oh shit! It's like Matt Groening. What's Matt? Futurama. He did the Futurama comic book. So all he has to do is throw up a Futurama banner. You don't have to have ever heard his name. But if you said I did Futurama comic book. He stayed busy. And the guy next to him, never heard of him before either. Right. Not to take away from him. But he threw up this huge, I'm the illustrator for Goosebumps. His shit was backed up out the door. Not because they're here for Bill Smith or whatever his name was. They saw Goosebumps and shit their pants and needed to get something from the Goosebumps guy.
He's actually quite famous.
No, I know. But I'm not.
No, my point was like out of 5 tables, one schmuck. Bryan
Me
was doing pretty damn good.
I
That's
was holding my own.
The greatest thing about it. I mean, DragonCon will place you next to people that you'd have to pay to be.
Yeah,
next to
someone's sitting next to Mark Texahara.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, really?
And
someone's got a booth next to George Perez, and it's not like
that's right.
Bob Burden's hanging out over there.
Yeah.
All kind. What's it? Afua Richardson.
Well, don't forget the Pruitts.
Yeah, and then I think Marcus Williams and his team, the Tuskegee Airs, were back there.
Yep, there.
And then Kyle Puckmaker.
A lot of indie guys returned.
Yeah, dude, it's just so, and not to mention there's probably like 150 people in there. I've not really gone out of my way to, like, I have not heard of them. Doesn't mean they're not worthy of your attention, but they're all there because they're good.
Right. There was a lot of really good artists there that I've been traveling around with that are better than I could ever hope to be. And the greatest thing about it is everybody's in the same room.
You got to hope there's an audience for your stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the greatest thing is you have as much opportunity there as anywhere. And DragonCon can bring that to you. It's my favorite show.
Podcast point 101. Don't bang the table that the microphones are on, because they're going to hear that. But you may need this information.
Not even for emphasis, Brian?
You may need this information in the future, JR. I may be educating you for a reason.
You know what? Actually, I will stand by that. Yes, you
All
have.
right, so just keeping you abreast of the situation. So competition is thick, and the fact that I can make any positive money out of DragonCon on a floor with all those people that have been doing it for years and banging away, and some new jabroni like SilverBax with a fucking made up last name made any money.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing because it also means your subject matter can do well too. If you're bringing a Shark Bro comic, if someone's never heard
granted,
of it.
Metal Shark Bro creator Walter, I can't ever pronounce his last name, but he was there
right around the corner.
Yeah,
with the whole Scout Comics guys.
So anytime
Stabby Bunny was there too.
Anytime I sold one of my Metal Shark Bros, you know, the cover that I did, I was like, hey, you go right over here, and one of the creators will sign it for you. I just did the cover. That guy did all the hard work.
Not to mention regulars like Derek Yaniger were there, Mike Gordon, you know, Peter Cutler, all those guys that we hang out with. This is on one floor, so you can only imagine the opportunities that DragonCon give you are insurmountable. They are the most energetic people, the nicest group of people I've ever been in touch with, as far as con goers and staff. Artists and all this time. It is the most energetic show I've ever done each year, and each year gets better and better and better.
Well, we missed you on the fourth floor.
Yeah,
but let me ask you this:
attack.
Do you think that you graduated to the fourth floor, or did you just get like? How would you equate it? Do you think it's the goal of every artist on the third floor to say, "I'm going to put on my big boy pants and I'm going to go down to the fourth or the third floor and fight against the guys selling pops and dice and swords and vests"?
Well, my move to the fourth floor was strategic.
All right. So for those that don't know, in order to get into the artist alley and pop culture thing, you have to in years past, I've heard that this may change.
It's the same. Well, for now,
I've heard that this may change. But the way it stands is you have to apply to be a guest at the artist and pop culture alley. Your work will be reviewed, and based on the need of the show, like, do they have 500 people doing chibis? They don't need another chibi guy.
Yeah, they're very specific about what they
and plus your list of accomplishments and your notoriety all come into effect. And then DragonCon says, yes, you're into the show, but you can't be a guest. So every year you have to apply and keep your fingers crossed, hoping that you're going to get a spot.
The only way 3 and 4 years, you and I've been pretty damn lucky.
No, I'm counting the blessings now, sir.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a hometown show. You don't get into the hometown show, you're like, people can look at you and think to themselves, well, why isn't he doing the hugest show in Atlanta? Why is he not there?
Especially because it is juried, and they do pick people. They do vet you.
Yeah, is his shit not good enough?
You do feel kind of bad if someone you see that you feel you're better than gets in and you didn't. Some of it's timing, though. If you applied in September for DragonCon, I'm sorry.
October 1st, begin applying to the DragonCon.
Why would you do that, Bryan?
I'm not afraid of competition, sir.
You aren't. Okay.
I think it breeds...
Well, this goes back to my point.
Metal sharpens metal, right? Isn't that what they say?
It's true.
Like if I wanted powder puff people, I would never give out any advice about drawing or anything.
Powder puff.
But so in order to avoid having the guessing game of whether or not you get in, you can pay to be part of the vendor floor.
Well, now you still have to apply to be a vendor. Anybody who's been a vendor before understands that you still have to apply and make vending. But if you do have something that as a vendor they want you in on, the greatest thing about being a vendor every year is that you have the option by the end of the con to purchase your table again ahead of time for the next year.
So once you get in, you're in. You're in the system.
Yeah, generally, yes. As long as you're willing to pay for it. And let me tell you, people, you do pay top dollar at DragonCon. It is not a little show.
Well, tell us, Mr. JR Mounts, how much would a 10 by 10 cost us on the vendor hall?
Oh, my God. Well, let's just say this. Are we going to? Do you want to give numbers?
No,
we're going to give numbers
because this is a solid number that if they go to the website, they're going to be told exactly how much that 10 by 10 section is costing.
Vending tables can start anywhere from $600 to $700 to $800 for a small table. Did
Small
you see
table, like what do you mean? It's still 10 by 10, right?
There is no. There's 6 by 2. They have artist alley equivalent tables up there for vendors. Now keep in mind, it's a 6 by 2, so you are paying
6 feet by 2 feet.
It's what you got.
Damn.
In line upstairs on the 4th floor, but you're paying 8 now instead of 6. Now it goes up from there. I chose a booth, a 10 by 10 booth, which cost me $12.50. Now, keep in mind.
Damn, is that 2 passes? Do you get 2 passes?
You do get 2 passes.
All right.
And you have the option, as you did before, to purchase any extra passes if you wanted to. So you get 2 passes. And for myself, I did that because of a couple reasons. I wasn't confident in 4th floor for my chances.
You thought you might get lost in the amount of cool shit going on?
Well, I was.
Is that part of the fear?
Last year, I was still pushing the pickle books, and the pickle books, just in general, my books in general were starting to slip for a full year. So right before DragonCon, I started doing watercolor art.
Right before DragonCon 2019.
Yeah, last year.
Okay,
exactly. No, sorry, 2018, right?
You were doing watercolor before that? Oh, that's right.
Watercolor
That's right.
a week before 2018 DragonCon. And it was out of frustration because I thought, I've been doing these books for a long time. I want to do something that challenges me as an artist and is just fun and I can just do one of. I ended up doing like 5 or 6 and almost all the originals sold that weekend. And I thought, what
and you were in a 10 by 10,
on?
right?
I was in a 10 by 10 artist booth. Now, the problem was, I had a 10 by 10 artist booth, and boy, didn't your friends want to use your backspace. Hey, you got a big ass booth. Can I put my box back there?
Can I put my dolly? Can I store my shit under your table overnight?
Yeah.
Can I put this back here? Because you paid the extra
This
space.
is my fault. This is my fault.
And you said yes.
For saying yes. Now, at the same time, I didn't expect 40 fucking boxes to go behind my booth. The idea is I allowed things to happen behind my booth. That
like when you say behind, like behind the curtain part?
Like my
or
heel,
inside
my
of your
heel was touching the back of someone else's boxes.
But but inside of your 10 by 10 space, because you had area behind the curtain, right?
Yeah.
That is just
It
dead,
just happened
dead
to be
space.
the way they set them up. But my main thought was if I can do well at a $600 booth, all right? Because if you remember last year, there was an awful lot of people walking around with alcohol that weren't doing anything other than talking. My booth became a barnacle booth many times.
Barnacle meaning they come by and socialize and hang on and don't purchase.
Much like the barnacle on a boat that attaches itself to something that's doing all the work, it brings nothing back to the said vessel.
So
you usually scrape barnacles off of the boats because they're not good for you. So booth barnacles.
They also make it hard to. Booth barnacles make it hard for paying customers to see your stuff. Much like barnacles keep your boat from going faster because of all the drag they create.
And much of the time, when it comes to booth barnacles, most of the time these are people that are you're friendly with, that you're friends with, that you love very much.
Customers,
yes,
most of the time.
And sometimes present customers. But for whatever reason, that particular year or that particular time, they just felt it wasn't necessary to buy anything.
I have just got an idea. I'm going to come up with a huge banner that says "No loitering," and just put that up at my table.
That will never work.
Dude, as soon as the jabronis next to me,
it will never work.
The guys knew they were friends of the artist guy. Like it wasn't the artist guy.
Okay.
They were like one of them was his handler, and I guess someone else he was talking to. They knew better than to stand in front of their buddy's table, so they stood right in front of my fucking comic rack, just carrying on and bullshitting, and for 30 fucking minutes.
So that's 30 minutes of DragonCon time. Yeah. Because DragonCon time is many times, people.
But I saw them consciously notice that they were in front of their buddy's table and scoot their assholes back in front of my table.
I don't stand for that anymore.
I don't know how to address that. Like I just said,
what
hey,
you
brothers,
do-
I'm trying to make a fucking living.
You
I don't
ask
know
them,
that I could have
"Excuse me, you're in
curbed.
front of my booth." You either be a dick and say, "Excuse me, you're gonna have to walk away from my booth."
Can y'all step up?
You're blocking my stuff.
I've got 10 feet in front of me. Y'all go against the wall or some shit.
And or what I've done, if you want to be a little passive aggressive, go outside with your phone and say, "Excuse me, guys, I'm taking a picture of my booth. Can you move out of the way? Thank you." They moved.
You know
for
what
a
I
picture.
did? I did the passive aggressive thing that didn't work though. I went out there and rearranged the books in the rack
They
that they
just
were
thank
blocking.
you for rearranging the shit in front of them. That's all they do.
Fuckers.
But booth barnacles can be very good. But I say barnacle before the hours of 9 and after 7. Because we can talk for free anytime the dealer hall is closed.
All right.
So, because I love talking. Anybody who knows me knows I love talking. But we are not from 9 to 7 there to talk. We are there to promote our work and hopefully pay our bills. And,
So you got
feed our families.
You got a 10 by 10 and you were barnacle ridden and taken advantage of by other creators.
I allowed myself upstairs on the 4th floor to let it be a hangout area. And
just because you're a nice guy, nobody really wants to put the middle finger to their friends.
I like people. And some of it's not even friends, it's just people that see you often at shows. But I made sure that this would never happen again, and I really wanted to test myself in a merchant area, but selling my work. So I talked to the powers that be, and they said not this year, but next year, because they said I was very cool and asking, not being a dick about it. And they gave me an opportunity. So that Sunday I prepaid for my booth. I got rid of all the money I made from that DragonCon. And I went to a 10 by 10 space, and I couldn't be happier.
See, to me, that's scary. Like, you're competing.
It was terrifying.
You're competing with the guy that's got 1 million fucking pops at $10, and you're trying to sell them. And first off, if you guys don't know, JR is not a fan artist. So he's still not down there slinging Deadpool prints or anything. He's slinging shit that is out of his, it's just original.
It's out of my head.
It's original stuff. And you're competing with stuff that has movies and TV shows and
there's fan art down. There's fan art down there too. It's just that,
they're vendors. They're slinging other people's artwork. It's generally not the artist down there slinging his.
Yeah, at times there is the artist down there who's decided to do what I did, pay what they got, and they're still fan art. But the greatest thing this year was the guy across from me was William Stout. The guy did Wizards, and he's an amazing
Wizards.
artist. He did There's an animated feature called Wizards from the 70s.
Oh, okay.
He's an amazing artist, and and the thing is, he's an amazing guy. He talked to me like I was somebody, and it was just because what kind of medium do you use? And it was just kind of cool because we talked just like you and I are talking now. And he lived in the part of California I used to live in, and we just started talking. But the greatest thing about being on the merchant side of things is that you are exposed to a whole new formula. Everybody in the 4th floor who comes to visit everybody in Artist Alley, everybody in Artist Alley visiting always comes to the merchant area. But not everybody in the merchant area will go up to the 4th floor.
Correct.
Artist
Some
Alley.
people stop at the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Some people don't even know the 4th floor exists.
Yeah, or because they think it's artists, they won't go up, not realizing there's comics up there. There's a lot of independent projects up there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great, fantastic art up there.
And there's panels up there.
So, to be downstairs in the merchant hall was an experience that I've never had before. I was hoping that my earlier show in Chicago would have been the same.
You're talking about C2E2?
C2E Suck, yes. C2E Suck was...
It doesn't suck for everybody.
C2E Suck was a bootleg central. It was...
Oh, you're talking about all the vendors are selling bootleg shit?
It was bootleg galore. I'm talking bootlegs of Blu-rays that are already released at Walmart and all this bullshit.
Oh, so they're straight from Japan and Taiwan
It was bootleg T-shirts. It was bootleg posters. It was a lot of bootleg. And nothing against bootleggers, but clearly if they allow you in, they allow you in. But my show at C2E2 broke my heart for the first time this year. Earlier this year, I quit. I even made a post. I quit. I'm done. Because C2E2 was so expensive.
The trip up there alone.
Well, it was the most I'd ever spent on any show, including DragonCon.
And this was your first venture into the vending area.
Yeah, because
This is JR saying, I'm tired of Artist Alley. I want to go where the people are.
Well, DragonCon was so successful last year that I thought, all right, for 2019, JR Mounts is doubling down. I'm going to have more art. I'm going to put my next book out. And I was going to redesign my booth. I put $1,000 into my booth setup, and I went out and C2E2 was going to be the new version.
Yeah.
JR 2.0.
JR 2.0.
You know? And the booth looked pretty awesome. I mean, I had new banners. I had 3 banners rather than one. I had a walk-in space. I bought flooring. I bought grid wall for the first time ever. I had done a shit ton of art. I ordered a shit ton of books. I didn't make 13 sales.
God dang,
3 of my sales were $5 a piece.
Ooh, 3 of the 15 sales were...
I didn't make back 1% of what I paid for the booth alone.
Wow. God damn, dude.
And I didn't see 25 people walk into my booth.
Yeah, but you saw a lot of people walking around, though,
There
right?
was a shit ton.
The traffic was there. Something just...
They didn't come
You
down...
had sprayed traffic repellent in your booth.
They didn't come down our row. So
the whole row sucked
There was
ass.
about 6 artists on our row, and we were all like, what the fuck? Because the row behind us and the row in front of us, the rows on all sides of us, were jam-packed.
What did you guys do?
I don't know. We were crossing the artist alley, maybe. I don't know. Here's the thing. Because you can't ever guess where you're going to go.
Yeah.
You can't. It's not that the show's bad. It just wasn't my show. They don't give a shit, and that's okay. It just meant that I had no purpose to be there, and that broke my heart because that meant I was wrong about myself. And
it doesn't do a lot for your self-esteem.
It made me feel quite terrible. And I will say this: I embarrassed myself quite hugely on Sunday morning because I had done the numbers and I'd spent so much money for the year because I bought nothing but vendor spaces for the full year. C2E Suck was the beginning of it. It was going to be the beginning of the rest of the year. So I bought 11 huge vendor shows.
Did you stay for the whole show?
No, I left at 1:00 on Sunday because I woke up Sunday morning.
I've only done that one other time.
I woke up Sunday morning and I had counted my money. I had made $220 between Friday and Saturday.
Oh, that's not even gas money.
And I realized I was going to lose my house. With my numbers, with the amount of money I spent, I was going to lose my house. And I started bawling in front of one of my friends.
Yeah.
Which was bad because, I don't ever like to bring negativity to anything. I started walking around at 12 o'clock around the show, and I'm thinking, why am I allowed to walk around? Why I should be busy right now. There was a line to get into the men's room, Brian.
But not one of those people had come to you.
But that's what I'm saying. So if a show is so busy, what show have you ever been to where there was a line to get into the men's room?
Yeah, the men's room.
Name a show you ever had to wait for more than one stall.
Yeah.
So what I realized is, I was wrong, and I was going to quit because I wanted my money back for the rest of the year because I knew that I was done.
All right.
And
well, you're being a Debbie Downer.
Yeah, Debbie. Well, but this has a good story. I needed to learn that because since then, I've concentrated on what do I need to do with my booth? What do I need to do with my art? What do I need to do to get ready by DragonCon? Because DragonCon...
So what did you bring to this DragonCon?
I got rid of the things that have not been selling, which is pickle books. Yeah, no books. Well, the books were off to the side. They are not. They're there,
featured. But they're not in prominent form.
And DragonCon taught me that those books are over for at least the time being. So no more books for a while.
No, you mean no more buying new books or no more creating new books?
I won't be creating any new books anytime soon because I hit this new style of art for myself. It's not a new style in general, but for me, I haven't done
doggy
this before.
style. It's just a style.
I love the doggy style.
It's just a style.
But it was the art that was moving. And because of that, I thought, all right, you know what? So DragonCon has been a great learning experience. And I'm going to be taking that experience and that knowledge and changing how I do things from here on out. And now, since I did sell my house before we lost it,
well, that's good.
I'm in an area to control a little bit more of what happens to me financially, and that's why DragonCon was a huge success for me. It was one of those things where I didn't do the numbers I needed to because I still...
But you came out in the black, right?
I did much better, yes. And again, DragonCon is my favorite con, so if you're going to do better at any con, let it be your home show. And this year was the best show
honestly, there's a lot of shows in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So to call this the home show, I mean, there's MomoCon, Anime, AWA.
Well, or let's just say it's the biggest show in Atlanta, but for me,
what
it's
about
the
Atlanta
home show.
Comic-Con?
Atlanta Comic-Con, and both of them. There's 2.
Well, I'm talking about not the 4-time-a-year one.
Okay, you're talking about the Atlanta Comic-Con, not the Atlanta Comic Convention.
Correct. I've never been. I've never done the Atlanta Comic Convention. I've always done I've done the Atlanta Comic Con last year.
For myself, for any artist, if you're living in San Diego, your home show is San Diego. If you're living in New York, your home show is New York. For Atlanta, DragonCon is the home show.
It is a worldwide. It's probably the most known convention name that takes place in Atlanta.
Because you're right, Atlanta has a lot of
Florida
really
has
great
MegaCon.
shows. Well, yeah,
MegaCon. MegaCon is probably the most. I mean, they have Pensacon. They have all these other SuperCons. They have all that. But MegaCon is probably the biggest. You associate that immediately with Florida.
MegaCon's also one of those shows that if you do well enough at MegaCon, you have a pretty good idea what you should be doing at other shows. And that's what DragonCon was for me. It taught me what I should be doing at other shows. And I think that I'll have an even better year next year because I pre-purchased my booth for next year.
So go to the third floor after you're done on the fourth floor.
After you're done
spending all your money on the fourth floor, go down to the third floor.
So start off at 4. Start at 4.
And work your way down.
Before all the money's gone. Spend your money on 4 and then wait.
Yeah, buy some original shit on the fourth floor.
Damn straight.
And then as you go down, you can buy your pops and stuff that other people will have.
Your pops and your belts, all the shit you can get on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, honestly, the thing is, like when I go to Walmart to buy something that I could buy on Amazon or eBay, I don't want to deal with the possibility of whatever it is being damaged in shipping.
Sure.
And if I go to Walmart, A, I'm not paying the shipping, and B, I don't have to say I hope it arrives in a box that's not fucked up.
Right.
If I go to Walmart and they have only one that has a box fucked up, I just don't buy it.
Right.
Basically like Funko Pops and stuff. But so, have you done SC Comic Con? Have you heard of that? The South Carolina. It's just called SC Comic Con.
I opened that one for the first 3 years it existed. Yes.
Not doing it anymore. I've heard good things about it.
It's run by a gentleman named Robert who is an incredible fan of comics and cons. It was his dream to do his own convention. He was also part of Heroes Con for a long time.
All right.
It was his dream to open up his own Comic Con. SC Comic Con is it's a growing convention in that area in South Carolina. When we opened it up, it was needing artists. And so when people came, I mean, we all did well. We all did very well. The next year, it was a little bigger. Well. The next year was a little bigger. Each year has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. The difference is that is not a show for me because I never sold more than my first year, yet the prices kept going up. So it's not that it's a bad show. It's a good show. It's just not my show. Because fans weren't
you're a
buying
very
my shit.
unique flavor. Also, back then, you were just slinging pickle books.
Yeah.
So who knows where the Shadows of Our Lives stuff that you're doing could that do well there? Who knows?
I don't know. I literally, with the art I'm doing right now, both watercolor and black and white, I have to start all over because I don't know what my opportunities are from now. Right now, I've been asked to do tattoos. So I have to look at tattoo conventions. I'm designing tattoos for people. It's weird.
What?
Look
at you, big baller. But you know what you guys need to do. If you have ever wanted anything from JR Mounts, now is the time to get it because that dude's basically giving shit away. He told me some of his prices, and he is giving this shit away. So y'all better, before he wises up and realizes how much he could be charging for his stuff, you guys need to get it now.
I'm notoriously bad at pricing my stuff.
Well, I am too. But gosh dang, sir, your shit is at Sam's Club. Like you're throwing it off like
all right.
Like yard sale
to
prices.
Rectify that. But all right. But here's the thing: art is only worth what people are willing to buy. In some cases,
but you haven't tested the other end of the spectrum.
Well, this is true. Well, I'm.
You're
new.
just saying,
I'm
do you have
new.
25 cents in your pocket? I'll give you this cool ass
Did I
thing
just not say
$25?
DragonCon has taught me a lot? Let's just say.
All right. I have to say that I am a fan of the black and white shadow stuff that you're doing. I find it very intriguing, and I like seeing the non-commissioned pieces because that lets me know where your head is at and what you think, what values you hold inside of you, and that what happens is like you create this. And then someone else would identify with what the art that you created, and it may speak to them, but they didn't commission that from you. Right. I think that's got to be pretty rewarding in itself. And for those that don't know, go to JR's Facebook page or JR Mounts on Instagram
Or DeviantArt. You can
or
look at-
DeviantArt and look at some of these shadow. They're most of the time they're black and white, and in the foreground will be subjects doing something, but yet their shadows are telling the true story of either where their head's at or what they're pretending or what they believe. And it's really a fun look at what's going on in people's heads. So just a little thing. So check it out. But I really dig it. And I think that we need to assess and start seeing what that JR's artwork.
I agree.
Book Pickle JR, no mas.
Yeah. No.
You'll have some boxes
pickle
under the
guy
table.
The pickle guy will always live in my heart. All right. But like the pickle guy will always be inside people.
I
is what I'm trying
always
tell
want to
you.
put my pickle inside people.
My pickle will always be inside people. I will always have my pickle in hand,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
it won't always be on my table.
Okay, well that's probably a safe bet. That's probably the best way to go about it.
I can do schools now.
You know what? You can do puns, sir. So if you're a big fan of JR's puns, be sure to pick up his Veggie Tales meets Sin City pickle books.
Fried pickle in the water.
Or just when you're at his table, just say, "Let me see your pickle."
Yeah, the funny
JR,
thing is they understand it's not a euphemism.
I want to see your pickle. So did you have a good time at this DragonCon? Like, I know that you said you're in the black, but you're also separated from all of your artist friends that you do all the shows with. Like, you're pretty much down there in solitude. Now, you said you talked to your neighbor.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
The difference between being downstairs and being upstairs is that the greatest thing about being in Artist Alley is that you know all those guys, man. They're all your friends, and I can walk over to the SilverBax table, shoot the shit, and go, oh shit, someone's in my booth, and come back. Yeah. You can't do that downstairs.
Because the walls are so high that even if you were like 2 feet away, you cannot see through the pyramid of backpacks and stuffed animals and fuck pillows.
Downstairs is a different game. Unfortunately, downstairs means it's a more lonely game. So until someone comes to see you, you aren't seeing your buddies, which sucks. Yeah. I took a lot of pictures this time for anybody who came and saw me because I knew that was the only fucking chance I was going to talk to them. Fortunately, I had my best friend Chris Collins there, which was good.
Now, did you sublet any of your real estate to Chris?
I put his stuff out on my table. Yes.
I'm just asking if you sublet it. I
didn't sublet it. I definitely said thank you for helping me. Thank you for letting me pee. Let's put your books on my table.
So that's where they can pick up Raggedy Man.
The Raggedy Man is, by the way, if anybody who doesn't know, Raggedy Man by Chris Collins. Go to harrowscape.com. Christopher Collins. Harrowscape.com. Excellent book. Excellent horror book if you're into supernatural horror. But that show, being downstairs, was a different animal, and it tired me out like nobody's business, man. By Monday, I was ready to go to bed. I just arrived there, But I will say this,
all right,
because I wasn't pickle pitching. Mm-hmm. I still had a voice on Monday, man.
Yeah, I do remember that every time I've seen JR at his table in the past, he has 5 people in front of him, and he's telling them what the pickle is, what it's about, what they can expect, the different adventures, and he is hard selling them like a used car salesman.
I'm not like a used car salesman. It's a pitch. It's an entertainment piece.
I know, but
car salesman.
So
I'm not trying to pitch lemons to people.
Okay. I will,
derogatory.
I will redact that. A new car salesman.
Oh my god!
A new car salesman is selling you a new car, something that you didn't know you wanted. He's trying to tell you why you want it, and he would always have an audience in front of him, and he's always talking, because you walk by and you're like, "Hey, JR, what's up, dude? You want to grab some lunch?" And he's in the middle of, "It's like Sin City meets the pickles and then the VeggieTales and the broccoli man."
You're doing it all right. You're doing all. You're the worst.
Course.
You're the worst pickle pitcher ever.
Well, yeah. Well, no one's pitching the pickle anymore.
That's right.
No one's pitching the pickle anymore.
But you're right.
You were constantly. It was like a fucking recording.
I was a fucking monkey.
And you would go through your 30-minute fucking pitch.
No, it was only 3 minutes, Brian.
It seemed
an
like
elevator
30.
pitch is 1 floor.
But so
it just felt like 30 minutes to you.
You would always do it, and then maybe get one sale out of it. Maybe get one sale, and then somebody new would walk up, and they had just missed it, and then boom, right back at
You
it.
gotta
There you
say
go.
it the same
Come
way
on down.
every single time. Yeah.
VeggieTales made for butter. Blah, 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 blah.
I was a carnival barker, full show.
Yeah, God dang. I bet
But
you
I loved
don't-
it. I loved it.
You loved it because you love the pickle.
Yeah.
But you love... You're
I
not
also-
having to pitch people. They look at this artwork now, and they're like, dude, I fucking like that.
That was
no explanation necessary.
Yeah, it was a different experience this year because I didn't have to talk. I let the art speak for itself. And some of the art, if anybody's ever seen the Shadows of Ourselves series that I'm doing right now, and I'm not trying to pitch myself, but
I'm doing that.
But some of the stuff is funny. You know, like we got a couple of dogs sniffing each other's butts.
Oh, I like the
but
Godzilla.
Their shadows are shaking hands, you know. But yeah, the Godzilla King Kong.
The Godzilla,
you know.
cat and dog, Godzilla and King Kong.
So some of those are funny.
But then you've also got like PTSD guy.
Yeah.
Sitting in the chair, and you could see that he's like PTSD'd out.
I was unprepared for something very specific that kept happening at my booth. And in fact, at DragonCon and the next con I did at a horror show last time. The tears coming out of people when they see these pieces. Again, like you said, some of those were commissions, but others were just things I drew that I want to find people's stories and that I think are interesting about people's narrative of their life. And sometimes it could be sad. Sometimes it's very heavy. Sometimes it's very funny. But I had a few people, you know, they're yucking it up. They're seeing the dog sniffing butts. They're seeing the cat and dog Godzilla King Kong one. And then they turn to one that hits them in an area they didn't expect.
Like there was one, there was somebody in the emergency room bed, and it was like somebody at their side, but the shadow was like an adult playing with their child.
Yeah, it was a father dying of old age in a nursing home. The adult daughter sitting by his side holding his picture, but in their shadows, he was young and vibrant, and he was
picking up a little girl.
Yeah, but he was holding his little girl, and their smiles are huge, and these are shadows now, so the mouths are big and happy. It's just boisterous, and so the sadness below was being equalized with happiness above, and all these pieces are designed to bring hope.
Yeah.
And the minute somebody who relates to that, who had just lost their father or even sometimes their mother, sees that, and the tears just started coming. And I was very surprised by it because I just thought art is art. You know, art
it's
would move
crazy.
people.
I even saw, I like the one where there was like a husband or a dad giving away his daughter at a wedding, and you could see the little shadows and stuff. And I think I can't remember anymore, but you have to go check it out on DeviantArt, and you have to go check it out on Instagram. So
But that's the new style of stuff we're doing,
and that's the new direction of JR the artist.
Yeah, because I need to stop what's not working and change what.
But
is
I mean, your
working.
commission work is picking up like it's got to be like 3 or 4 times. Like I don't know that anyone had commissioned you to do much while you were pickle pushing.
Not this much. I've been doing a year's worth of commissions in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, so
which is very nice. But
you could command higher
but apparently
prices.
I'm charging too little.
Yeah, I told you I'll get in now before I tell JR what he should be charging these folks.
But I will say this, you know, the commission work has been very rewarding because, you know, how many times have we each done things as an artist just to be appreciated? And
I do a lot of things to try to be appreciated because I feel like sometimes I'm just doing shit in vain.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm having a good time doing it, but there's something selfishly inside me that just wants approval.
Sure. Well, because we're artists, and look,
I think human beings.
To anybody listening, let's put this on the table. We as artists, we create because we have to, right?
I create to eat,
Right.
but
Well,
I happen to be good at it.
You would be
decent.
creating anyway. But we artists who go out and sell our work, we're not doing this as a hobby. We're not doing this to hopefully sell $50 worth of something that we can pay our bar tab later. We are hoping to feed our families with the work that we love doing,
Correct.
which is why we do this. So understand that we as artists are very moved by our own work, but we're also doing it in order to help survive as artists and do the next thing. So these shadow pieces are a way for me to connect to people in a way that I've never been able to before, and maybe tell stories that maybe haven't been told before, that maybe someone might connect to, and that's where the work is coming from. People are asking me to do their own version.
All right, so that was DragonCon for you. You give it 2 thumbs up, A+.
I'll give it 3 thumbs up.
3 thumbs up. 2 thumbs and a pickle.
Yeah.
I'm hoping...
There's a 4th one that's hidden.
I'm hoping... That was the 3rd one. I'm hoping that next year I will have my own comic book as well as the professional work that I'm doing. I'm hoping to have Loggerhead out by then. And I want to know, for next year at DragonCon, what are the odds for you having a art book for your shadow stuff? Like
100%.
So anyone listening now can take it to the bank that JR will have for sale.
Most definitely.
A book that features the Shadow of Ourselves artworks.
Yep.
Because some of that stuff, like, I may not be able to afford an original JR mounts once he knows how much to charge. But to have this book at whatever the cost is, $20, $50, whatever the cost is, there's going to be a lot of work in there. And I think we talked about maybe having perforated pages so that someone could pull out the page that they like and frame it up and have it on their wall or something.
The final decision has been to make an oversized coffee table book, big enough that even if I can't afford perforated pages, unfortunately, that asks for too much. But these pages will be single pages, so you can tear them out or cut them out or exactly them out and then frame them. If there's a certain piece you want.
Yeah.
There'll also be a blank page in the front for when I do these books.
Oh, you commission an inside page.
Exactly. So that's I'm very excited about that because I think that I don't know how long I'll be able to do these shadow pieces, but they are going to be collected. There's going to be at least 100 in this book, and it'll probably be the most rewarding work I've done in a very long time.
That's awesome. Where can people find more of your artwork and stuff? They want to see these.
Probably in the trash bin at most places.
The 3rd floor trash bin.
You can go to my DeviantArt page for JR Mounts, no periods. You can go to Facebook and message me if you want to see something, but you can usually go through my Facebook pictures.
And Instagram.
Right? Instagram, Twitter. I don't have a website anymore because why put money into a sinking ship that wasn't getting many eyes? So
yeah, but honestly, the captain of that ship was a fucking pickle.
Well, he was a fucking idiot. Yeah. I am going to be revamping. There will be no more scary Tales Noir bullshit.
Well, that's not bullshit. That's what got you to where you are.
Well, what I mean is like the hardest name to spell. Seriously, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, add an I to scary.
Scary.
I mean, how fucking
I.
times? It's like saying. It's like I'm sure it was the problem.
Noir. O before I.
I'm sure it's like the problem like Led Zeppelin, Monkeys, and the Beatles had in the beginning. No, mate. It's BEAT.
Like beat. Keep the beat.
Beat. We keep the beat.
All right. Well, thank you, JR. Thank you. All right. Now for the announcement. Oh, he's banging on the table. I thought we talked about this.
But it's for effect.
All right. Starting in shortly. I can't put a date on it right now. But we will start recording next week. Next Tuesday, JR is going to be my co-host for the Bryan SilverBax show. It's like I'm waiting for the applause button to hit, and I don't hear anything.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, like, you're going to have to listen to this. You're going to mark this as the occasion like where doom started in your life.
I'm going to say, remember that time I fucked up and said I wanted to do a podcast with JR?
It's on tape now. It's actually in the digital airwaves.
I know. But so JR is going to be my co-host, and there will be a lot less of the interview podcasting. It will be more of the shooting of the shit and reviews and talking about what's going on and having a good time. And then, I mean, we'll occasionally interview somebody. We may interview somebody together.
Yeah.
I may do one solo. Maybe JR wants to fucking say, hey, Bryan, I recorded some shit. I doubt it because he's too busy drawing fucking hand puppets.
I'm going to spend all my time hitting the table.
He's basically beatboxing. He's going to be beatboxing on his desk like he's in high school. But so JR is going to join the team of the Bryan SilverBax show. Thank you guys for listening. Check out silverbax.com. Give this podcast a thumbs up. Tell your friends about it. All that cool shit. Keep Skynet from shutting us down. And as always, first off, thank you, JR.
Thank you, Bryan.
Stay creative.
It's almost